Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Simon, and I'd like to introduce to you a Blender add-on called Meshsets. What is Meshsets? Well, Meshsets is a preset management tool in which it is to aid in building a scene, new meshes, all sorts of different things that would require a preset. Now, I am currently in Blender 4.3, but it has been tested on older versions and it seems to run exactly the same as it should. I have not encountered any problems whatsoever on that side, which if there is, it would be sorted and updated accordingly. Now, where is Meshsets? Well, you would load it the normal way as anything by doing it in your preferences and adding it into your add-ons folder. But in my case, I've already got it pre-ready and preloaded because of doing this video. Now, this is my first tutorial video that I'm doing for such a thing, so it might be a little bit ropey around the edges. So I will do my best. But where do you find it? Well, first off, it's not going to be in the side panel like you would expect, like you can see here on the right hand side. I've got a whole load of other ones that I've got installed, but if you're looking for Meshsets, it actually falls under the tool tab on the right hand side, which when you open it up, normally you have just three options here: workspace, options, and active tool. But as you can see, there's one called Meshsets because it is a tool. It is a tool to help in build what it is that you require. So this is Meshsets. Now you'll see here on the right that I've got a load of presets already, but that is because it's using a default folder within my computer at the moment. I will explain everything as it goes with Meshsets. There's nothing much more to this. It is a bit of a long list, but we will get round to every part of it so that you can understand how it works. So first thing I need to do is to get rid of the light and the camera. Now those items do not work in creating a preset. You cannot use a light source or a camera source, so it is no point trying to do that. I have tried to implement that, but unfortunately it was not the case. But how does this go? Well, as you can see here on the right hand side, you've got preset, new preset, save session, save main, and then preset storage location. Now the preset name, alright, so let me pull out a bit. Preset name. This is going to be one of the most integral part of your presets. You need to be naming everything accordingly as you go when you are designing or creating, depending on what it is that you're doing. Save session, and then you've got session presets. You've got this lovely box here. Now, save session is only for the active window that you currently have running. So the active session. So if I was to close Blender, any presets in this grey box would actually disappear. It'll be a blank canvas. It's merely designed as a quick history of presets that you use that you can then go back to in the sessions. So if it's something that you haven't finalized as a main preset, this is where you'd find most things. Now, for my purpose, obviously, we need to load up a default blank. So you've got there is a storage location. You have two file folders. One is actually to the file folder that it's currently got, that you're currently in, which for us is not applicable because this is the wrong one. The other one is the preset directory in which you can choose where you want your presets to go. So in my case, I've got a folder in my pictures folder called Blender My Presets. You can name it whatever it is that you would require. You'd merely select the folder, set parent directory, and as you can see, there's a couple of folders in here. Now, you don't have to select any of these folders if you wish, or however many folders you've got set up. You could just use the root folder for your presets. My suggestion would be to, if you have a kit bash of items, so say you have like 30 meshes of a Roman theme, I would have all of those in your Roman folder as a grouped collection. So I would seriously recommend making a separate folder for everything so that it keeps it nice and tidy and it gives you what you need and when you need. Now for my case, I have got a small little kit bash in the Gothic, so I will set it, and as you can see I've got building blocks and it is a blend file. So we'll say set parent preset directory. Now you can see my list has got smaller. But you can see underneath here, you see main presets. Let's get rid of the default cube for a minute. And it's building blocks. Now, if I press this button, it just highlights blue. Doesn't do much, but that is for a different function. When you want to load the preset, you come on over to the little white drop down arrow, press it once, and it comes up with the name of the preset and the count. This is how many times you want this preset to be loaded into your scene, as into your collection as a whole. So in my case, I only want one because this is a group of meshes. So press OK, and as you can see in the outliner, you can see I've got everything that I have loaded in. And it's all in one collection. So you could open up a new blend file, bring all your pieces into that blend file and save it as a preset as long as everything is zeroed out. So at the moment, these are all intersecting with each other because they're all set to 0. Is the better way, in my opinion, for this to be used. So what we're going to do is demonstrate the main session type that you could go with. So from this point in time, because I'm in the Gothic theme, I'm going to now take each of these meshes into it. This is going to be the long part of the session that you're going to do. So I would select a mesh, come up to your naming preset and call it, and then you would call it, in my case, column 1. And you would not go save session, you would go save main. Now if I save main, you see it now appears below. So delete it out. Do the next one. This is an arch 1. Save main. As you can see, it's appeared in there. Delete it out. This is column 2. Because it's a second column, it's a smaller one. Save main. Delete. And then this is I'll just call it railing 1, and then save main. Now as you can see, the list is now starting to populate per item that I do, and the idea is, by doing like this, is now that you're making each of these items available to call at any time in the presets. So that means these are stored inside your actual folder. So when you go into the folder itself, you can see they're all there. Now these blend files you cannot open as an individual blend file. They are merely for reference of rotation, location, all sort of. It's mainly a data blend file, which it won't have a mesh inside of it. It's merely for data. So let me just finish doing these. So stone stone 1. Save main. Set that in there. And as you can see, I didn't press it, so save main, stone 1. There it is. And then stone 2. Save main. Stone 3. Now this would be the long part of using the presets in this manner. But as you would go on, you would find that there's certain things you would use a lot, and then there's others that you won't at all. But the thing is, once it's set, you don't need to then change it. You can literally just leave it as it is, and then it'll be there always. And you can change folders while you do it. So this is another thing. This is another feature that I can do, which I'm going to show you in a second. So this is the last stone, so stone 9. Save main. Now, say for instance that this stone was in 3 of my kit bash that I have. So say I have 3 different kit bashes, and this particular mesh would be in all 3. Sometimes I wouldn't want all of them in all of them, but you also would, depending. But now you can see all the presets have just been saved. The main presets. These will always be saved and will always be available as long as the folder that is selected is in your directory that you can reference to. It will always be there. Unless you accidentally delete the actual folder and the files, then yes, it won't become available. But say if, for instance, I wanted to say this mesh is a Roman stone. So I'll be like, right, set preset directory. So I want to come back a step. So I'm going to go into the Roman, set preset, no items in there. Set preset. List has disappeared. No presets are found. No saved presets are found because we haven't done any session ones. So now we're going to go stone 1A, for instance. And then we're going to go save main. And then we'll delete. Right, so we're now an empty scene. We've saved our stone 1A. And now we're going to go back to the Gothic, set the directory, and as you can see, the whole list populates again. Now, I could be like, oh, but I'm pressing the buttons, but they're still doing nothing. Well, these are not for the loading part. All your loading is on the right-hand side, which is these little arrows. So arch 1. So we want one of those. There's your arch, centered out. Let's do column 1. There's your column. They're individual meshes. Now, let's do arch 1. Let's go to let's do 3 of them. Well, there's 1 there. But if you look in your outliner in the top right here, there's actually 3. So, and just to be sure, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. So the idea behind that is, okay, we've got 3 arches. Oh, but I want to have the stone from the Roman. Okay, let's go to the Roman. Set parent directory. You can see your arches are still there. And we're going to go 1 stone. There it is. So we'll move this over here. So this is our Roman stone over here. Now we're going to go back to our Gothic, because that's what we have. I have got nothing in the sci-fi at the moment. It's really just for showing how this works. Now, obviously, this is stone number 9. That we know that this is stone number 9. So what if we load it? Stone number 9. There it is. So let's put that over here. Okay, so we've got two different presets from two different folders, but they're still individual meshes. How does this become useful? Well, let's say, for instance, we've saved all our individual files as individual meshes, which is handy for building out your scene. So now I can say, right, so let's just say hypothetically, let's move these out of the way for a minute. So now let's go, right, so floor. I want to do 4 of these. They're all going to be in the center, so obviously we need to move them. So we just do a quick move them around to make a square floor. It's going to be a bit janky because obviously I'm doing it quickly. I'm not spending the time, but there you go. There's 4. Now, say for instance, you're like, but I want to make this bigger. Now, you could select one and do an array modifier and things like that. You could apply all your modifiers and things like that to all of these as you would. But say, for instance, I'm like, right, okay, select all of these. I want to duplicate. And you would duplicate your objects, Shift D, right? Well, instead of doing it that way, all you have to do is one of 2 ways. You can either go, right, as long as the naming is done, so we'll go floor times 4, because there's 4 pieces, so it's 4 times floor, but instead we're going to go save session. It appears in the save session. But hold on, as long as you deselect the items, you have to remember to deselect. Now if I press this button, it loads a preset, and there you go, there's 4. But the trick with this is what, so say we'll put it there, it's still selected, and let's press it again. Now, for some reason, it's actually got 8. Well, there isn't 8, there's more than 8, because it's got the original 4 there as well. Now, as you can see, it's already starting to go considerably longer, so let's do it again. So you can see already that I'm starting to make a road by just pressing it a couple of times on the save session. So it will do what is highlighted and that you've saved in your session preset. So if I was to quit and I didn't save this, all of this would disappear and the save session would this one would disappear. But say I like this road as it was. I'll be like, right, okay, let's move it around 90 degrees thereabouts, give or take. So we'll just get close. We'll get it close. Like I say, this is just for demonstration purposes. I'm not spending the time to be particular. So, but in your case, it would be however you feel. So there we go. So say for instance, that is what it is. Now let's say we want to move this down at the end, this one down the other end, this one into the middle with the 2 bricks. So we'll just put the brick there, bring it up a little bit. Select your mesh, move it to where you want. And there we have it. Now, if I select all of it, this is going to be another function that is within the presets itself, your main preset. So say, for instance, I'm happy with where this is. And I go, you know what, actually, this is the point of origin here. But as you can see, the red and green line, or the X and the Y, is on a different, it's off center. So that's the center, but we were off center. Say that's where you wanted it though. Say you actually built a landscape and that's where you wanted it on a specific scene. So if you're doing an animation and you wanted to do a building that was in the same location for camera use, so if you had a camera or a specific angle that you needed, you could go, right, I am happy with this. So instead of going save session, I would go, right, road 1 or whatever it is that you would need. And then I would go save main. There's road 1. It just appeared in the list. And say you delete your scene out and you're like, right, okay, we're doing a new scene. Oh, we need to bring the scene back. Oh, right, let's build it. Well, then we know what it's called because we've just done it. So road 1, but we don't want 4 of them. So we only just want the 1. If you pay attention to the middle, you'll see that is the middle. And we were off center before. As you can see, it's put it back exactly where it was. So now let's move it out the way and then put it so it's sort of behind the green line, but it's kind of central. With the same name, and you press it again, it looks like nothing has changed. But by selecting all of it, move it back, or let's move it forward. Let's put it here. Now let's load road 1 yet again. Just 1. There you go. It's changed location. So you can change your preset location of things, providing it's the same naming convention of your preset, and that actually will place where you wanted it. This is where it was before. We then moved it over here. So now I've got 2. Oh, if you know what, let's get this so it's actually like almost like a bridge. So we'll just move that one there, that one there, like so. Oh, but I want to take this arch and I want to duplicate. Well, it's either you can duplicate it like you would and duplicate the object from current where it is, but you know that all your models, all your individuals are going to be in the middle. So let's do the building blocks. Oh, look, there you go. It's just bridged it. Exactly what I wanted. So now, if I select all of it, so if I select, so if I select all, providing the middle one is the current mesh, is the first in the line or the last in the line, road 1, we save main again. So let's move it out the way. Road 1. Boom. Oh, but I don't want now to have all the parts for that road now. We need to get rid of a few. Okay, that's fine. So let's get rid of a few. So let's just do this. And then we'll go, well, we don't want to take that one out. So let's, oh, not what I wanted to do. But let's just do this. Delete that out. That's what I want. Not a problem. Save again. Then we'll just delete out. Road 1. Boom. There you go. So that's another function of these presets. It saves the coordinates in XY space, well, XYZ space. So for argument's sake, so let's go floor 1. So now let's bring that up and then we'll do another floor. And we'll go, right, okay, and then we'll go column 1. Okay, so let's bring that up there. So there you go. So that's now a column with some roofing parts attached. Ooh, excuse me. Just like that. Okay, I like this piece as it is as well. You could go, right, for a dungeon crawler, I want to have a floor that's, because these are centralized to the 0 point, everything will line up as it should. So now I'm happy with that. So I'm going to save session instead for a change because I might add to it. So I'll call this floor column 1. But we'll do save session. Now save session is purely because, oh, this is something that I want to work on later on. So I'll be like, right, okay, let me just do that. Let me just bring another one in. So say you want to build your scene out, but you're not finished. And you're like, well, okay, I would like to, have this and do whatever. And I'll go, oh, you know what? Actually, I need a floor. So you find your floor. load it, and then you're like, right, that's good. I need to just space this out. So you start building off what it is that you require. But if you're also making a kit bash, like you're making a group of meshes, then you could do it that way and go, right, well, this is now a double column, so that's another mesh that you just created for kit bashing. And you can go, oh, well, okay, then I want to, you can iterate. And then when you're happy, you then go floor column, final. So that's how I want it. And then you save it to your main, in which you could delete it out if you want. And then because you've done it, you go, oh, look, floor column final. There it is. Done and dusted. So you got your part. So it has two meanings to mesh creation, as well as also being able to carry on at any point. As long as it's saved in your main preset, it'll always load that specific item. So like stone, let's do the railing. There's the railing. The arch we know, the column we know. Let's do the other column. There it is. Now, as you can see, it selects everything regardless of what one. So obviously, if you then bring it in and go, oh, bugger, I've just moved all of it, and I didn't want to, it'd be like, well, you'd have to deselect to move the item where you want it. So even then, I could say, you know what, I'll take this piece and this piece, and I'm happy with that. But you're also going to say, well, what about if I want to like combine this with this and make it a boolean? So just to show you, and then we'll find a boolean. Let's see, there we go, boolean. So we want a union. We want to union the two. There we go. So just to clarify that it is done that, we'll just check. There you go, it has. So it has done the union modifier. Oh, but can you save it as a preset? Well, yeah, of course you can. You could actually do it as rail col 1 joined. And you can save in the session if you wish, or you can save it in the main. So let's get rid of it. And then rail 1 joined. There it is. Just to clarify that it is. There you go. So in terms of mesh creation and just for save presets, there you go. Now, say for instance, I want to build something using this. I could go, oh, right, you know what? Save session also saves a bit of time as well. Why? Because I can then go, right, there we go. Move this over. There we go. So move this over. Like so. Join it, move it out of the way. And as you can see, it keeps selecting everything instead of actually just not, because you might not want to move just the one, you might want to move the entire thing. But as you can see, I've already creating something that could be used for a lot of things, and that's just with some simple clicks. Now, in terms of the session presets, the highlighted in blue it won't be on the final version. There will not be a highlighted blue because this is something that should not be doing this. Basically, in other words, it should only just have the buttons in there. That is obviously going to be a feature that's removed because you're going to not need this. So what I'm going to show you next is something different. So let's bring in column 2. So there's column 2. Let's see, can I just shade flat? There we go. That's a bit better. It's like I've been doing it as like with auto smoothing, but there we go. There is the column. So let's go into edit mode. This is the next feature of random placement in edit mode on face. Pretty much it's self-explanatory, so make sure you're in face mode. Now let's say we want to add in something on this. So on this face. Yeah, sure, no problem. Why not? Let's put stone through. Now you don't do it via this. By loading the main preset, you select what you want to go in that spot. And then you come down and it says count how many. It's exactly the same thing. How many meshes you want to put in. So in my case, 1. Minimum scale is that. So let's bump it up a little bit. Yeah, so say maximum, actually we'll make it maximum 2. So it'll go from 0.01 to 2. And it will place a random size between those scales. Unless of course you want it to be 1-to-1 scale, then you keep them as what they are. So it'd be 1 and 1, which is the original scale of the stone. Then place random mesh. Now this is where this feature up here, where it's highlighted in blue, it's got ×4. Or rail, sorry, it's not even that. It's actually doing the rail column joined. It's not the one we want, but you get the idea. And so this video is merely to show what its capabilities are, and this is obviously a hiccup. Now, obviously, we're still in edit mode, as you can see, and this has been added on top. So if I come out of edit mode and then select, you can see that it's still separate, but it's placed it on top of the mesh. They're 2 separate pieces. And in the outliner, they're 2 separate pieces. So say if you did that, you wanted to do a save session with it, you could. So if you wanted to have, I don't know, all of these in blue selected, not the save session preset, you could then say, I want all of these meshes put on a whatever face of an object. As long as they're not highlighted, they will not go on. So the place random presets is merely a scale and location on that particular face. So it'll put it anywhere on the face. Sometimes it might rotate it, sometimes it might not. It's very randomized. So it's just a quick put on, adjust to what you need. So if it's like a window or a door. But here's another thing that I've added here. As you can see, UV flattened and save. Save UV layout. Image size is 1024. Now the image size is, I've based it to 1024 at standard. You can change the resolution for this when you export. Now you're thinking, well, why would I need to export? So say this arch, for instance, arch 1. Let's load up one of these. Okay, let's shade it. Let's select it, shade flat, so we can see what it looks like. Right, so you can see there. Before you press the save UV layout, make sure that your object is obviously in edit mode and UV unwrapped. So we'll do a smart UV unwrap. Okay, just a basic UV unwrap. Come out of edit mode. Now, with the object selected, save UV layout. As you can see in the top right corner, format. You have a choice of JPEG, TIFF, BMP, and PNG. PNG being what most people would generally use, so that's why it is list suggested. You can change your image size, so you can be specific in points of what you want, but obviously 1024, 2048, etc, etc, or 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K, whatever K you want to go with. Now, before you just press flatten UV image, obviously it will give you your name. You need to change the name. In my case, I would put it in my pictures folder where my presets are stored. So you could have a separate one saying Blender UV pictures. So we're just going to do that. Flatten UV. Now Blender might freeze. It is doing something, which it just did. It says the UV layout saved to pictures, blah, blah, blah. Now if I bring it up, there it is. We called it untitled. And then there's your UV layout. There is your UV layout to what that arch is. And you can do this for every mesh that you wish, as long as it is UV unwrapped. It will then work out, because if not, it will just show either a black cube or it will just show a basic cube. So for instance, to show you what I mean, floor, let's bring this in. Okay, so object, so we'll go edit mode, UV unwrap, smart UV project. Right now you can see it is grouped together of a bundle of meshes. Well, let's see what it does. So let's save the UV layout. We'll go over the image. You can save over file name images for UV unwraps. Wait, you'll see it doing its thing. It's now saved. And if I look, this is what it shows for that particular. So that is the UV layout for that floor. So right now you could take this into Photoshop or any particular program, do some painting on that UV, and then you would bring it back into Blender using its materials and adding it as a texture. And of course it's 1K or whatever particular choice you've made, and then you would apply it and it would show exactly as you've applied it for what it is. It'd be probably a lot easier using a different program for doing things like that, but you have the option to be able to then at least edit a UV and actually then see how it looks. So you could do some pre-texturing just to make sure it is what you're going to think it's going to be and how it's going to work. But in a nutshell, that is Meshsets for what it is. But like I say, the highlighted blue in the session presets won't be a thing. It won't be allowed to select anything from in the session when you attach one of your presets. But this would be the way to attach another to a mesh on a specific surface. So you can have it on the side, you can have it on the top, you can have it on the corner, however, what way you wish. That's how that works for the random placement. But my name is Simon. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and happy meshing. See you later. Bye bye.